Welcome back. Previously we were discussing in detail the Cooperative Wholesale Society and the Scottish Cooperative Wholesale Society. Let us discuss about the further cases under the same category. Next one, Co-operative Tea Society. As the name suggests, it was related with tea plantation. The Cooperative Tea Society was jointly owned by the Co-operative Wholesale Society as well as Scottish Cooperative Wholesale Society. In 1976, the Cooperative Tea Society had a share capital of £2 million and reserve fund of £5 million and loan capital of £1 million and annual sales of £25.5 million. The society was involved in the tea and coffee industry, as the name suggests, and it owns plantation in South India and Ceylon, and it was a success and had contributed much to the cooperative movement all over the world. And many of the cooperative tea societies were on the base of the same pattern. And let us discuss the next one. Cooperative Wholesale Societies versus Scottish Cooperative Wholesale Society. Even though both work almost similar, covering two different areas, let us discuss the differences regarding the two different societies. CWS or Cooperative Wholesale Society and SCWS is Scottish Cooperative Wholesale Society. In Cooperative Wholesale Society, there was no limitation for becoming a member. But in case of a Scottish Cooperative Wholesale Society, employees above the age of 21 years cannot be enrolled as a member. Liquor societies also could not become its members. In case of a Cooperative Wholesale Society, one vote is allowed for every 500 members, whereas in Scottish Wholesale Cooperative Society, one vote is allowed for the purchase of £1,500 worth of goods and one additional vote for additional purchase of goods worth £3,000 during the first quarter following the general meeting. In case of a Cooperative Wholesale Society, bonus is distributed on the basis of purchases, but only half of the profit is distributed to non-members. Whereas in a Scottish Cooperative Wholesale Society, bonus is paid to the employees on wages, but 50% of the bonus is deposited to the bonus loan fund, which is paid only after 3 months of leaving the service of the society. In a Cooperative Wholesale Society, the managing committee is elected at the general meeting, whereas in a Scottish Cooperative Wholesale Society, the managing committee is elected by members and also by various subcommittees. In case of a Cooperative Wholesale Society, the member societies are required to take up shares at the rate of £5 for every 5 members. Every society has to pay 1 shilling per share at the time of admission. Whereas in case of a Scottish Cooperative Wholesale Society, employees willing to become members have to purchase 5 shares at 1 shilling per share. Shilling is a denomination of transaction used in England per share, and at least 1 shilling per share has to be paid at the time of admission. For every member, the share value is £1 each. Even though the Scottish Cooperative Wholesale Society was implemented so as to cover the areas that were not able to covered by the Cooperative Wholesale Society, it still has its differences regarding its procedure and operation. So these were the major differences between Cooperative Wholesale Society and Scottish Cooperative Wholesale Society. Let us discuss about the reasons for the success of consumer cooperatives in England. Even though many of the movements was a failure in England, almost all the consumer cooperatives in England was a success. A new economic system called the cooperative movement originated in England mainly to overcome the evils of industrialization and mechanization of agriculture, resulting in unemployment, underemployment, low family income, etc. The only solution at that time was the supply of consumer articles at a lowest rate. That is why Crocodile Pioneers Equitable Society was started with a limited number of consumer articles, and it was a grand success. Gradually, they began to increase the number of items in the store and later on started manufacturing them too. However, because of their interference in the market, people with limited means could go through. The success of the first consumer store gave further advances to their followers also. So let us go through each point that shows light into the reasons for the success of consumer cooperatives in England. The first reason was that as a consumer cooperative stores were able to eliminate the middlemen, consumer get goods at lowest rate so that the cost of living of the people were reduced. That was a great relief to the weaker and poor classes. As majority of the people were daily wage earners, they had to depend on their store daily to feed their family because they get only the goods at a cheaper price only through these stores. Consumer cooperative stores ensured the supply of pure and unadulterated goods. During that period, adulterated goods were abundant in the market. Since most of the goods dealt in consumer stores were manufactured in their own factories, they could fix low prices. Cooperative stores provided better conditions of work and several amenities of life which were very rare in the majority of the private concerns. Hence, trade unions are on very friendly terms. Ultimately, the employees and the working class were very happy with the working conditions provided in these cooperative societies, unlike their counterparts conducted by the private concerns. Consumer cooperatives provided much material assistance to organize labor unions in their struggle for better conditions. During that period, the conditions of the working class as well as the weaker sections were very pathetic, and the cooperative movements helped in overcoming that to a large extent. By providing realistic opportunities to the working class, consumers to conduct the business through the issue of shares on purchases, the movement contributed much to the growth of democracy. All these helped in uplifting the conditions of the poor as well as the working class. They combined savings banks with store activities so that they never experienced any shortage of funds, because shortage of funds are the main issue faced by almost all failed cooperative societies. So, since there was savings which helped the movement of the store effectively, the members of consumer cooperatives work for the welfare of the whole community. Members help themselves by joint action without considering individual interests, thereby they cultivate a community spirit. Because only through community spirit as well as coordination between the people, these societies and movements can succeed. By imparting education through cooperative schools, colleges, libraries, lectures, classes, etc., they make people understand the basic principles of cooperation based on the principles of self-help and mutual help. Self-help and mutual help was one of the principles of cooperation that paved the way for the success of the same. The women guilds also were very helpful for the consumer stores. Usually it is the women folk who make purchases for the home, so they are more familiar than men with the prices and quality of goods. That helps in reducing unnecessary purchases and unnecessary spending. Because women know exactly what is required as per the requirement of the house. After all, there was good leadership and efficient and effective management to control, coordinate all the activities of the stores. It is not only a one factor that led to the success of these cooperative societies, but a coordination and combined effect of many positive factors, many features, many principles, and the coordination and combined effort of everyone for this particular movement led to the success of cooperatives in England, mainly consumer cooperatives. There were numerous movements or societies that was implemented during the same era in England, and almost all the movements and ideas were ended in failure because of the absence of all these reasons. Some of the absence of some of the reasons also led to the failure of some of the societies, and the coordinate effect of all these reasons has helped in the success of consumer cooperatives in England, especially the consumer cooperative. There were a number of cooperatives in England, cooperatives based on dairy, consumer, friendly societies, and many types. And the success of consumer cooperatives was due to all these factors. So this was a general condition of cooperative movement in England, and we will discuss about the cooperative movements in various parts of the world in the next session.